Hey everyone, Eric Watson here, freelance writer, player of games, writer of boards, recorder of videos, and tabletop role-playing aficionado. Welcome to the Monday edition of Bye Bye, weekly behind-the-scenes DM-only live stream, Crafting the Deep, which I build right and prepare for our next session of Call from the Deep. If you are playing characters Gottwald, Black Sabra, or Twirl, the stream is not meant for you. We're full of spoilers, but the rest of you are always welcome. We stream our D&D sessions live on YouTube every Friday. You can join our official Discord server with invite link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. For our campaign, we use Roll20. For streaming, I use OBS Studio. I am exhausted from staying up very late last night doing our Patreon D&D epilogue and recap special. So I am very tired tonight, and I'm probably not going to be able to do a full hour stream if I'm being honest, because I am. My wife was like, "You need to cancel. You're falling asleep like left and right." I'm like, "No, this show must go on." And I'm like, "Oh dear, I'm so tired." But we're gonna do a little bit of crafting, mainly because I need to figure out how we're gonna do this combat fight that I kind of lured Mac into, seduced, if you will, to opening the door and splitting the party, and then ended up going really badly for him. I think I did, I don't know, maybe 60 or 70 damage to him, and then paralyzed him with hold person. Now he's being dragged away from the room while a bunch of enemies are chasing after him, and his rest of the party is not super close by. Gottwald and Sabr are still finishing up the Mind Flayer for room 58 up here, although, let's see, I'm scrolling through. Oh shit, that Mind Flayer gets to go before both of them. Dang, that's nasty. He might be able to get the Mind Blast back. However, Twirl is back, so that's a big deal, right? Twirl came back, hopefully, and I'll spawn him up here in Area 51, and Vestros will be able to point down and be like, "Your turtle friend is dying. You might want to go save him." Which is ironic because we've had this situation before with the roles reversed, right? We had Twirl paralyzed and near death, and then Mac had to go save him, so this would be very appropriate. Twirl is not well as equipped for actually saving people, though. He's mainly well equipped to deal the punishment. I think the best way for him might be to summon Bigby's hand and then use the hand to probably grab Mac and like carry him off to safety like a little baby bird or something. I could also use Borges, have this be the moment for Borges's heroic sacrifice. I am totally willing to do that. It would be appropriate for him to save Mac, and guess what? He goes first on the initiative before Luzgrugal goes, so maybe he can taunt, do like a DM taunt action and try to draw fire away from everybody at least, and then it'll be like an off-screen murder as everybody goes in there to deal with him, or maybe at least the big like boss goes in to deal with him and pummel him to death, while the others have to come deal with it. And I will straight up be rolling death saves and everything else if I need to for Borges's purposes, but I'm willing to lose him. I mean, I'm technically willing to lose Mac as well, but that's I think Mac will be able to stay on a little bit longer. I do feel bad a little bit about the paralyzed thing because the party's not going to be able to actually target and break the concentration of Luzrugal anytime soon. They just have to have him make the save, I think. Trying to see what else he can actually do, because I'm looking at the initiative going, okay, what's the order of events here? We haven't actually had Twirl roll initiative yet, so I don't know where he's going to fall in there. That could certainly matter a big deal. Actual really pretty well in initiative here. The psionic suit is pretty late, so odds are Twirl will be able to act before that suit at least, but odds are he won't be able to act before Luzgrugal and perhaps maybe even one of the Warforged warriors we've got here. The other three are all together in the same initiative pretty much. But I already did a hold, so I've already got the concentration going. I guess, what else does he have? He has Mind Lash, which does 1d4 slashing and 2d4 psychic damage. Any creature that takes psychic damage from the Mind Lash must also succeed on DC 15. Wisdom save or have disadvantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws for 1 minute. Alright, that's not terribly powerful. I mean, the debuff is pretty nice. I guess he could follow that up with something. He could technically do his Mind Blast, because all his robots would be immune to psychic. But that would also be devastatingly powerful, so that's the one where I'm a little bit worried about unleashing that shit with everybody. And the other thing I could do is have Vestris actually step up and start attacking. Notice how I kind of took her out of the as a non-combatant by having her have to concentrate on like masking the party and keeping them hidden from the psychic probes of Zelix 4. Originally, I was just going to have her have to use her concentration to protect the party, but then I ended up using her entire actions throughout all the combat encounters. So just kind of fix the balance that way. However, if it's really getting pretty nasty in here, I could have her switch and just say, okay, fuck it, we'll just start attacking you guys, and we'll, like, whatever the consequences are, we'll have to deal with them, which I don't know what they would be. The monsters knowing that they're there, I guess. I mean, she could even cast something like Dispel Magic, I guess, right? On Mac. If I really wanted to do something. Object, creature magical effect within range. You spell 3rd level or lower than the target ends. Yeah, and held person would certainly be that low. So, I mean, if I really needed to get out of it, which the bad thing is if I don't do it now, then it's like, why the fuck weren't you doing that before? Other than the fact that she, I guess, she's been using her action to protect them psionically. But yeah, so she could drop that if things get real bad. I just feel bad if the party member is like incapacitated for an entire fight, but hopefully that won't happen too badly. Let's see what else. And then the warriors are just going to be following up to the north. I mean, how long is it going to take them? A hot second to get back. They are pretty far away from the others. And I've got my Mind Flayer, which if I also want to run these guys as nastily as they could, I can recharge the Mind Blast, which I've got a, 33% chance? Because he did it last round, right? And that's why he was able to stun Gottwald. And I think Savra did damage to him. Now, Savra's still concentrating on Witch Fire, or Witch Bolt, I think. But didn't quite finish him off. So if he can recharge and get the Mind Blast again, I could end up stunning Gottwald again. Maybe even Savra. That would be devastating if they both get stunned out of it. Although there's no guarantee I would get the Mind Blast back. If I don't get it, then he can just use his Tentacle attack, I guess, on Gottwald right there, because he is pretty much donezo. And I like the fact that we kind of role-played a little bit that I think Savra tried to actually talk him down and try to get him to surrender. And I played it up like he would consider that, except he's like being overridden by the hive mind, saying like, no, you need to take these guys out. They're too dangerous and yada yada. They are. I mean, Gottwald alone is, let's see, 50 feet, 25. He's already 75 feet. I mean, he's like 100 feet away just from where Vestris is, which is the top of room 51. That's a long way to go. Savra's about 25 feet closer, so she's 50. Yeah, she's about 75 feet away from that spot, which I was going to have Twirl spawn in kind of near that area as well. So that's also going to be very painful for them, is that they have to like have the boss fight, not even in the boss room at all, even though it's a nice big boss room to have a fight. It's so like fucking D&D too, where it's like you picture the party, having the fight in the room, but so often as soon as they open the door, that's when everybody sees each other and you have to roll initiative and have the fight. And then like who's all coming into that door, or the enemies coming out of the room. Like oftentimes you don't end up fighting in the actual room itself, which is why I like it when, a lot of games, for example, they'll do a little cutscene to kind of set up the fight first, and that kind of teleports all your people into the room, and even Baldur's Gate is guilty of those shenanigans. And I felt like I really wanted to do that in several occasions where it's like, all right, just everybody come into the fucking room right now so we can get our fight on. But no, in this case, we're going to fight in the hallway right here and probably continue to fight in the hallways and then in the poison gas room, I guess. Thankfully, it's at least a gigantic map that has like 10-foot wide corridors, so we're not all super stacked on top of each other or anything. But this could get pretty nasty for the party. And the other thing I'm thinking of is, I originally wasn't going to have the party ever long rest again, but after all the events that's happening in this dungeon, I don't know, like they may have to, if I don't let them long rest, then I at least need to like heal them in some way, which I could come up with something like that there's like damaged restoration pods around the area. Maybe Vestris could sit there and kind of, hack into one or something and give it just enough juice to where she can essentially give out healing spells to the party or something if I really don't want to let them long rest. I don't think it's going to matter, frankly, too much one way or the other. It's not like, Savra's not even using her own spells for the most part. She's using her staff. So, I mean, I don't think a long rest is even that much different than just it's the hit points is the problem with this party. They're going through hit points like crazy. I think Toril missed out on last week short rest, which is why he's still at 50% health. So we can let him short rest at the start of the session before he actually rolls initiative and jumps into it. But well, I guess let's see. I mean, if they can still short rest and regenerate their hit points after this fight, then I think they'll be good to go. Which right now it looks like Gottwald's got 5 hit dice left. Mac's probably the big question, especially if Mac ends up going down. What? Mac's got no hit dice left. Holy shit, dude. How much damage did he take in the last session? Oh my god. Dang, because I know I went back and fully gave him all his hit dice after that long rest. Whenever they leveled up. Damn, he's got nothing. So short rest, he wouldn't even be able to heal anything. Okay. So I may have to amend that a little bit, and if I don't let the party long rest again, gosh, and Twirl will probably use the rest of his to fully heal as well, so he would also be effectively out of hit points. Man, these have been some pretty gnarly fights for the party, I guess. Between what the mutants, the trolls, and the poison gas room, the entryway then, and then was that boss fight, I guess, with Shava as well. Just those alone have been pretty taxing, and then now we're at this one, which is going to be a much big nasty fight. Jeez, so I guess we'll have to see how they do on this one, but I'm willing to break my own rule and possibly even let them long rest an additional time. The bad thing is I don't like the timing of it, though. I guess if they long rest after destroying, obviously after this fight, but before actually taking out the 4th augmenter brain, would be a chance that they could do that. Because the one I don't like the timing of is if they go and destroy the 4th brain, and then that's when it kind of triggers the end game sequence, basically. Like the Tritons are showing up saying, hey, we're attacking them, and they can hear the Kraken like freaking out up there, and Zelix 4 is like screaming in everybody's minds and everything. And it's like we have no time to do anything but get up there and join that fight. But maybe I could let them long rest before they get to that point. I'm willing to do that, and it may have to happen now that I'm looking at all their collective hit points and stuff, just to be able to, because they do have a 2-stage boss fight coming up. They have a big ass one with a whole bunch of monsters and stuff, and then they've got a second one with just the Elder Brain, but with the party presumably having, been drained a lot. And maybe I let the party short rest in between those 2 boss fights. So I guess if I'm the most generous DM, and I probably am, I could let them long rest again after this fight. If I let, like, Vestris can, like, all right, hey, I'll repair this restoration pod. All of you can get your long rest on really quickly. I can keep us hidden, and hopefully nobody will come in here and jack with us, or in this entire dome, basically, because it's normally pretty self-sufficient, and you already all cleared it out as well. Like, there's no other creatures in this dome. So maybe I could allow them to get the long rest there. Then they can go unlock the thing, get the NPCs from the prison, and destroy the augmenter brain, and get that message from the Tritons, and do all that. And then we're in the end game, and they have to go up there and have that fight. And then after that first stage battle, it's going to be tricky, but I would probably be willing to let the party short rest, because we have established like 5-minute short rests, and I think I would just let them do that, basically, because they would need to get some kind of recharge in, and then that would be it. That's if I'm being the most generous. The least generous would be if I only allow them at this point on to short rest, and then don't give them any break between the 2 boss fights. Spell-wise, I think they would be perfectly fine between the wizard having just a shit ton of spells and the Staff of the Magi, and then Twirl being a warlock who's got all this shit on short rest anyway. They're perfectly fine. Hit point-wise, though, they're not, which is interesting. Like, that is their main resource that I'm looking at. The fact that Mac has no hit dice right now and he's already at 47 out of 113 hit points. Gottwald's almost out of hit dice. He's only taking a little bit of damage, but he still doesn't have very many left. And then Twirl, assuming he rolls like his last 4 or 5 hit dice or whatever, will probably heal him back up, and then he'll have 0 hit dice left. So like short rests isn't going to do these guys any good for hit point wise. The other option I could do is allow them to loot some healing potions from Luzgrigal. Or perhaps not like literal healing potions, but like whatever cool, rethemed engineering shit he's got in there. Maybe I can add that to the loot table that's sitting here and be like, all right, here's some much needed healing stuff. And they'll be like, oh, thank God. That has like the equivalent of a potion of superior healing or something. Like I know there's like Keogtum's ointment, I think is one of them. There's not a whole lot of items that are like that. I just search ointment. What's it going to give me? I mean, it's not called ointment. What is it called? Did I misspell it? I think it's Kellogg's? KHG? Nope. I don't know how to spell it. Fuck. You know what I'm thinking of. Oh, the jar that's... Or no, is that the right one I'm thinking of? It has like uses of healing potion, I think, in it. But I think it's only a regular healing potion. So I'd probably just have to retheme like a very powerful healing potion. Or maybe like the equivalent of a necklace of prayer beads. Retheme that. Oh yeah, easy. We're always doing that. Great minds. Necklace of prayer beads. Gotta retheme this. Cure wounds at 2nd level. So like the equivalent of beads that can heal. What is cure? We could do like the 2024 cure wounds, which is a little bit better. They would have to heal so many hit points though. Like we're talking like 100 fucking hit points. I wonder what mass cure wounds. That scales better. I think cure wounds is only 2d8 for spellcasting ability modifier. Yeah, but then you can upcast it for each spell slot level above 1. So you could say like, hey, here's some like, I don't know, elixir or some kind of electrolytes that Luzgrigal made specifically that will heal like, 6d8 hit points plus, what is Luzgrigal's? Plus 3. What does that look like? 68 plus 3. Is that something to scoff at? Okay, I just rolled 30 hit points. 40 hit points with that one. That's using the 2024 rules for cure wounds also, which is twice as good. I knew it was an ointment. You saw me type ointment in there though. I didn't find it. So it's pronounced. Yeah, it's not fucking in here anymore. What is going on? I knew I wasn't crazy. Keogtum's ointment. Is not finding it. I don't know what the hell. Should be in here, I thought. Are my compendiums messed up for some reason? Let's just search. Oh, you know what? My compendium is messed up. It's only showing the basic shit. Oh, I bet I need to like re-sign in or something. Shoot. What happens if I refresh? Refresh. So refresh you. So it's on my end because I know I'm coming up with that thing. Let's see if this doesn't work, then I have to sign out. I think so. I've had this happen before. Okay, let's. Well, I don't want to show y'all. Let me go back to my. There we go. Let's sign out and sign in. Let's see if this fixes it. I'll be back very soon. Okay, click that. Click launch game. Let's see if this fixes it. All right. Kellogg's ointment. There it is. Okay. Yeah, there's a weird thing where I just have to like sign out and sign back in and it finds all the compendiums again. $2d8 plus 2 hit points is how Cagtum's ointment works. You can give multiple doises. My goodness, ointments, doises of the ointments. Multiple doses, 1d4 plus 1 dose. So what I could do is just use this as a baseline, but make like a way better version of this. Have it contain multiple doses and have those doses actually give you like 68 plus 3 hit points. And maybe you get like 4 uses of that. So it's like Luzgrigal's ointment. Luzgrigal's elixir. Loses elixir. Loses elixir. Yeah, that might be the better solution. Is just add that to the loot table. I was also going to add some Fisty Fists to the table. It's hilariously late in the campaign to give poor Gottwald some kind of magic fists because he's been punching people the whole time. And he may not even use them because he's got his axe, which, you know, does, if he's not trying to keep people alive, then the axe does just fine. This is the item that I came up with called Mechanized Fists. While wearing these fists, you get +1 to attack and damage rolls with unarmed strikes. Additionally, you may use a charge to activate one of the following effects when you successfully hit a target. Force Punch, push the target up to 15 feet away from you. An Electric Surge, deal an extra 2d8 lightning damage, and the target can't make attacks of opportunity until the start of its next turn, basically Shocking Grasp. The fists have a number of charges equal to your proficiency bonus, and they regain all charges after a long rest. Pretty cool item, I think, if you were lower level. At their level, they're going to be like, okay, fine. I think the trick is going to be that, unfortunately, this probably should require attunement, but I feel like he may not even... What is he attuned to right now? The Anchor Axe, the Periaptive Wound Closure, and the Tentacle Ring. He might not need the Periaptive Wound Closure. Well, I guess it would help during that final short rest, but... I could see maybe deattuning to that. What does the Tentacle Ring do? Oh, that gives him the water breathing and shit, doesn't it? Swim speed, I think. I did look up the Eldritch Claw tattoo. Oh, fuck, I was not gonna find anything again. What the hell? Eldritch. It's an item, right? Technically. Oh, crap, it's gonna come with all the indications. Eldritch Claw tattoo, yeah. Oh, tattoo has 2 T's. Dumbass. +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls with armor strikes. Bonus action. You empower the tattoo for 1 minute. For the duration, each melee attacks with an armor strike can reach a target up to 15 feet away from you as inky tendrils launch toward the target. In addition, your melee attacks deal an extra 1d6 force damage on a hit. Yeah. He's going to hate the bonus action requirement because he's always bitching about bonus actions. And also, it can only be used once per day. When does it last? Oh, for 1 minute. So I was trying to come up with a very similar version of that, basically, which was I still get the +1 attack and damage rolls. You don't have to use a bonus action, but instead it has charges. which would also, well, that's a good question actually. If he lets you do it more often or not. I guess if you're in one, this one would you'd be able to do it more often over time because it doesn't have a time limit. But the other one lasts all combat for one bonus action, whereas this one I'd make you spend a charge every time you actually want to do the thing. Which I guess means he only gets, what are we at, 3 proficiency bonuses? And I give him an option. You can either push the target. Well, so actually mine's slightly different because this one is the what that monk feature where you just extend your reach by 15 feet, which is pretty interesting. Whereas mine, you can push the target up to 15 feet away from you. Normally, I think the players would be very excited about that, but it does happen that we're going into a literal giant water combat zone that pushing isn't really going to do anything necessarily. Although it could help your teammates out, like getting an enemy out of another player's hair. I could add that as a third ability. Even the fists like fire. The fists like launch. You gain a 15-foot reach, I guess, basically, as the fists launch themselves like fucking in like I'm trying to think of Inspector Gadget or something. Go Gadget Fist. But it does seem like these require attunement is the only bummer, and I could see where it will be tough for. I mean, it's just tough in the late game for everything. It's an arms race with the items that you've already given the players if they feel like something's worth the attunement slot at this point. And it does also do the extra 1d6 force damage on a hit. I could just add that as a baseline. That's not a bad move, actually. Additionally, extra 1d6 force damage on a hit. So just a straight up, you get +1 to attack and damage rolls. Additionally, you deal an extra 1d6 force damage on a hit. And then you can also use a charge. May use a charge to activate one of the following effects inside later target. So I can still do that one. But yeah, the reach is an interesting one too. So I was going to have these fists in Luzregal's workshop. Plus, I could have the healing there. And then I think I was going to put a ring of spell storing, the equivalent of ring of spell storing, up here when they get the brain. For one last little item they can grab. A very minimum range attack. But yeah, sometimes that could be helpful just to be able to do 15-foot range. Although he's weirdly quite good at his throwing hammers also. But I think this would do probably more damage overall if he needed just a little bit more range to reach somebody. Because what did I tag him? I tagged him with the Psionic Suit's Psychic Blast before, which is nasty. Thankfully, the suit doesn't go until later in the combat. But it still has 200 hit points and 20 AC, and it has been aggroed. They're going to have to deal with it. This could still take up a big chunk of next session. I mean, I still plan on this fight being a huge whole thing. They've got this big flying, like, Iron Man mecha suit they have to deal with Luzregal still in there, able to cast a little bit of spells or do his little Mind Lash ability. And then all these warriors down here. That is a choke point, though. Toril, if they can get Mac out of here, he can create a pretty good choke point, but I think he'd have to probably use his turn to get Mac out. Especially if he goes earlier than everybody else, versus having to throw down something that would create a nice choke point thing, even though that might give him the better option. All right, and then to wrap things up a little bit, because again, I'm probably not going to go the full hour with this stream. For our final battle, or no, sorry, the penultimate battle. This is the stage 1 boss fight. We still need to come up with the kind of war chaos table that's going to go down in this area pretty much as soon as they spawn in. I think I want to have it reflected in a table that they have to roll every round as basically the equivalent of a layer action. Speaking of which, can we look at the 2024 Kraken layer actions? What do we got? New legendary actions, too. Notice how they jacked up the legendary resistance. This is pretty much across the board, the monster manual also. And a lot of them, or I should say even most of them that I've seen, they do have more in their layer, which this would definitely be considered a layer. But look at that, 5 legendary resistance if they're in the layer. I don't plan on necessarily using the stat block for the 2024, but I do want to be inspired by it. Legendary actions only lists 2 here. The Kraken uses Lightning Strike or Toxic Ink. DC 23 con saving throw, each creature of 15-foot emanation originating from the Kraken while it is underwater. Target has the blinded and poison conditions until the end of the Kraken's next turn. The Kraken then moves up to its speed. Nice. So it's like the ink, yeah, the ink squirt. Failure or success. The Kraken can't take this action until the start of its next turn. Wasn't that always the case of legendary actions? Because you can't... I guess it doesn't say that here. Okay. So it's mostly using Lightning Strike. Which is DC 23, 120 feet for 60-10 lightning damage. Is that how the other one is? And I plan on, I think, having Slarkarthel making those wisdom saves in public, and then if he's resisting, then I think Zilix 4 can only maybe rely on this table, or maybe do the legendary actions on top of the layer actions. Okay, so they have it's a different kind of ink cloud. It no longer has the attack or fling as legendary actions. Interesting. Lightning Storm is 4d10. What was it here? Lightning Strike was 6d10, so they jacked up the damage of the Lightning Strike for sure. Does it not list as layer actions here? Piece of the 1 mile, the charm condition in the area, and in this layer, the Kraken can cast Control Weather, acquiring no spell component. I think that's really going to help. Because it wasn't there. Let's see, if we go to Bion Info. Yeah, these are the layer actions I'm looking for. Strong current, vulnerability to lightning damage, or electrical charge water. I don't necessarily just want to hit them with the same lightning damage every time. I like the toxic cloud effect, but I don't know if I can do that as a chaotic table thing that's happening constantly, because that requires the Kraken to actually be doing something. I think having the tentacle attacking them is fair, even though it technically only has a 30-foot reach with the tentacles, right? Yeah. So if they're not within 30 feet of the Kraken, then I don't know if I can technically do that one. So I don't know if I actually want to put a tentacle one on the table, even though it feels thematic with everybody like fighting a Kraken that there'd be tentacles everywhere. But if I'm trying to run it legit, I don't know. The current is a great one. We can make that be pretty long range. And it's a strength save to be pushed up to 60 feet away. That's nuts. Vulnerability, it's going to be hard to keep track of. And then we can look at other people's stat blocks, like the Marrow. We can definitely have like a harpoon. Like a harpoon hit somebody and just have it be an attack roll. and maybe have them get pulled in a random direction if they fail a strength contest, or maybe just make them roll a DC 14. That might be the quickest thing to do, because that would be the average that the Marrow would be able to pull off. About a Kraken Priest flinging a Thunderbolt, probably be an easy one. Also, that might be easier to do than the Kraken's big Thunder Blast. Just have it be like one of the Kraken Priests throwing a Thunderbolt for 2d10 lightning damage, or 2d10 thunder damage. I don't know if I want to do like a D4 table. Probably try to do a D6 maybe if we're going to roll on it a bunch. Although, you know what? We did all that work to put in the mutagenic. You remember that, right? I did that like a week or two ago and did that whole table and did the whole mutagenic table in there, and then they never freaking rolled it. Like, dang. Brutal. Absolutely brutal. The voice the Kraken thing. Hear the Kraken's words. Must succeed DC 14. Wisdom saver, be frightened. That would be an easy one too. I definitely want to like have a balance of debuffs plus damage and make sure it's a mix of different kinds of saves to allow people who have better saves or worse saves on other, different ones be able to succeed or be vulnerable to certain exploits of their weaknesses. So I think that's probably worth doing. Which is a DC 14 Wisdom saver, be frightened, which I would just probably do a generic. You have the frightened condition for until the end of your next turn, basically. Let's see. Man, there's a lot of tables in here. Okay. So rollable table. What are we gonna call this one? Kraken battle. Slarkra battle table. Slarkrith table. I was trying to create a portmanteau, but it's failing me. I mean, Kraken battle is probably the best one to do it. And items. All right. Well, we like the voice of the Kraken. So, thunderous voice. Enemies of the Kraken succeed on a DC, which I could say that Toral's immune to this. Is saving throw or be frightened end of their next turn. That would actually be pretty cool because he's a Kraken Society, so like he automatically succeeds on the save. I guess I have to think more about if Toral wants to do things. On what can he do and how would that affect the Kraken. Maybe he can even talk it into shutting him down, or maybe if the Kraken ends up failing a save, maybe Toral can do something that helps him make a save to regain control. Thunder's voice, Thunderbolts. In which case is that like it hits everybody? Like before, when I do these tables, I kind of randomize who it's going to affect. I wonder if let's see, because normally the Kraken Priest would only be able to target one person. And Slarkrith, I think, also, does he target one? Technically, oh, that's right, 3 lightning bolts. Oh, does the new one only do 1 lightning bolts? Yeah, okay, that's technically weaker then, even though it's one target takes 60-10 lightning damage, but the original Kraken was dealing 4d10 3 times. I'm not great at math, but I think that's a lot more damage potential. But I didn't want to have that one go off every round because I think that'd be a little too strong, although it is a legendary action. So what I can do is probably that'll be like what the only thing Slarkarthel does, or Zelix 4 does really, is if Slarkarthel gets stunned and can't use any of his actions, then I could just like fire off that lightning strike, which if I'm using the 2014 version is the freaking 3 times, yeah, 3 targets of 40-10 lightning damage each with the DC 23 saving throw. And I'll mix that up with including a tentacle attack in there, because why not? So do I want to keep the table then, just getting one target, or maybe... Because if everybody could potentially take it, that'd be too much damage. So maybe a random 1 or 2 people get targeted. In which case, I might actually just roll from the Thunder Bolt on the Kraken Priest to deal this damage. No, it's not going to hit that random player. Random player gets struck by a Thunderbolt attack. So that's just one person. I might increase that to 2. And then we liked the layer actions, which was a current. Moves through the Kraken layers. Let's go strong current. Enemy of the Kraken within 60 feet. Each enemy within 60 feet of the Kraken succeed on a DC 23 strength saving throw, or be pushed 60 feet away. The Kraken. Success, the creature is pushed 10 feet away. Okay. I like that one. Water in the layer becomes electric charge. All 120 feet. The guy must see the DC 23 con save, taking 3d6 lightning damage on a failed damage. Okay. That's good because it's a low amount of damage, but it could affect everybody, and most likely would affect everybody. Strong current. Let's call that one electric current. Can decide if I'm using hyphens or colons. I've done both. It's a madhouse. I always specify enemies of the Kraken. All enemies of the Kraken with 100. 120 feet. Succeed on a DC 23 con saving throw. Dang. I don't think I can do the damage here, unfortunately. Fail or half success. So I've tried doing the brackets and it doesn't actually roll it from here. Okay, so we've got 4 so far. One of them is just everybody has to make a wisdom save or have the frightened condition for 1 turn. One of them is that one random player gets struck by a Thunderbolt attack, which could potentially do 40-10, I think. It's the Kraken Priest attack. Yeah, it's a +5 to hit for 40-10 damage. The other one is that everybody within 60 feet of the Kraken must succeed on DC 23 strength save or be pushed up to 60 feet away. And then the other one is all enemies of the Kraken must, within 120 feet, must succeed on DC 23 con save, taking 3d6 lightning damage on a fail or half damage on a success. What else? We've got a con save, we've got a strength save, we've got a whiz save, and then we've got an attack roll. So we've got a pretty good mix of things so far. Let's see if there's any spells that could be flying off like a command. Or if there's anything that control water could do interesting down here. Although it's interesting that Reese brought up the confusion with control water, how well it actually works underwater versus looking at a body of water. Yeah, because like, does it do any good to like flood? Not really. Part the water, redirect flow. Whirlpool could be pretty nuts. What if he casts a whirlpool in the middle of this dungeon? There's a vortex 5 feet wide at the base, 25 feet. Just with vortex and get strength. It collects check against your spell save DC. Takes 2d8 bludgeoning damage, is caught in the vortex until the spell ends. Use its action as some way. Now it's where legendary resistance comes into play. Although that'd be a good move to do against all the enemies for sure. Slockerthal's also got a bunch of spells. Oh yeah, I didn't do the ink cloud thing. But that one kind of involves the Kraken, I feel like, moving around and then escaping. I can't remember that it's going to have foresight on it. Sight. What is foresight going to look like? I'll never see that token. It's so small. I did think about the Marrow's Harpoon. That could be one. And then if we want to round it out with a D6 somewhere else, there's a kind of just generic range attack going on somewhere. Unfortunately, it's kind of a big area where I can't just do like a random creature bites at you or something, but they're not really like covered in creatures necessarily. It's more like just range attacks going everywhere. Surprised I don't have a Dex one yet. But yeah, let's add a Harpoon. Harpooned. And my player is... I could just say you're automatically hit. That seems kind of bullshit, though. I feel like everybody should have some kind of attack roll or save or something going on. And a player is on the south end of a Harpoon. Gets struck by a thunderbolt attack. Is hit by a Harpoon. What the fuck? Can I just say that? And then I can just roll the Harpoon range attack, I think. Man, those Marrow don't miss. So good. Oof. 2d6 plus 4. Why? Why is this one? I've like found my enemy. I've found the stat block that I roll really well with and is just absolutely fantastic. If it hits, make a DC 14 strength saving throw or be yanked in a random direction. Ranked 20 feet. In a random direction. We'll have that on there. It's 5 different things. If we come up with a 6th one, I think we got a nice D6 table of stuff going on. Don't know. Maybe one of them could be a good thing. Maybe a random player gets inspiration because of the battle cries of the Tritons or something. But I did talk about how it would suck. I think I mentioned that before. Like, hey, one of them should be good, but it would suck if I'm like relying on this to harry the players and all of a sudden they get one in their favor. That's a big swing. Versus I could make a separate thing happen where it's like, hey, at the end of the initiative order or at a certain initiative count, you know, somebody gains a random inspiration because of the Tritons being here. versus having it be on this table necessarily. I don't know. We'll have to think of a good sixth one. The Swaggin Baron doesn't have any range attacks whatsoever. I've got 2 attack rolls. I've got a con save, a strength save, and a whiz save. So I could definitely target like dex or intelligence, or have another attack roll. Or have something to do with just a debuff, a difficult terrain. They get slowed, they get blinded. Something like that. But that's a good start, I think, to this chaos table, because my players like these tables and I like making them. And I think it really helps add to the feeling of an epic, terrifying battle in the middle of having to actually run and fight all these stat blocks versus having a bunch of like 1 hit point minions. We'll see how it works. And the thing is, I've always got the Tritons here to kind of eat up, some action economy from the enemies. And then the big thing is, of course, the actual boss really is not going to be run like a proper boss fight, because he's just would be godly against the party, but instead he's going to be extremely nerfed and hampered on purpose, and possibly not even doing much on his turn at all. And then maybe we can look at having Zelix 4 actually do a thing, or have Zelix 4's action, instead of trying to run Slarkarthel, maybe it like does one of his legendary actions or something, does like a single tentacle strike or single lightning storm or something, which could be pretty effective to do. All right, as I mentioned, I'm tired. I actually went a lot longer than I thought I would, but I think we're going to go ahead and bring this crafting stream to a close so I can get some proper sleep. So thank you for joining me for Crafting the Deep. If you enjoy the content, as always, please check out patreon.com/RogueWatson. Shouts to Platinum patrons Joe, Will, Thomas, Dan, Brennan, Zenicider, Eclectic, Roll, Plural, Christopher, Corey, Big Nut, John F., John L., Nathan, Ken, Chris, Lake, Counselor, Andrew, Stephanie, Jason, Lovey Spuds, Warden, Harold, Dynamo, LC, Tom, the Eating Dogs, Caleb, Marcus, Nuggy, Hugo, and Yi, and Gold patrons, RPG, Paper Crafts, Pretty Boy, and Yuma, Does the Lounge, Jerome, Nate, the Basket, Tortoise, Scott, Vester, Glenn, and Mark. Thank you all very much for your support. I will see you for more crafting on Thursday.